Hello, I'm Micks Mowers, Mower Man, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I've got this steel lawnmower here. Belongs to a lady. I believe she's either a firefighter or ex-firefighter. Not quite sure, but does a bit of garden lawn care in her spare time. And she's bought this lawnmower in for a no-start issue, okay, which is appears to be the common theme of the year again this year. I asked a very simple question: did you leave the fuel in from last season? And she replied yes. So that's probably why. Now it is a Stihl RM253T. Yep. And it's got an overhead valve engine on it. And it's a clean mower. It's only a 2018 mower. Stihl decided to do the same as Viking and put their handles back to front, which always confuses me. But there is fuel in there, and the fuel does smell slightly stale, okay? Which will confirm the story she said about it not starting and what have you. So let's get a couple of pulls. And that's all it's doing, okay? So that's fine, but before we continue, what I want to do is just double check we've actually got a spark. And as always, I'll walk off into the shed and leave you and come back with my spark checker. Because it could be that the spark plug's just knackered, and a new spark plug is all it's needed just to get this machine back up and running. But I doubt it, judging by the smell of the fuel. So I've got my spark checker. These are available on Amazon now in the UK. They're about 45 quid, all right, but they are worth every penny, I guarantee you. Stick it onto lawnmower and hook it on the HT lead. It comes up with a signal. You just pull the cord once, that's all, only needs one. And then straight away it will confirm that the spark is okay. It's blinking on the okay. Just make sure when you have got these, you put that on lawnmower side, right? Just clip it onto the HT lead like so. It clips on there, you pull the cord and away it goes. Very expensive, but we do a good job. So that has told me straight away that the spark is okay. So with that in mind, I think what we need to do is not muck about. Get straight on the bench, have the fuel out, inspect the fuel condition, inspect the tank, and we'll dive straight in for anything that's obvious. If not, it sounds to me like a carburetor clean is needed. We'll get the carburetor cleaned, we'll come back out and we'll try it again. So if you have a Stihl lawnmower like this, or a Briggs & Stratton E-Series engine, which is one with a plastic bowl style carburetor, then this is a video for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and whack the old bell and set notifications to all. That way you upload some up on a video. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty and let's get this non-running lawnmower to run. But before we get started, just want to say thank you very much to somebody who sent me a little gift via my Amazon wish list. Yes, I do have an Amazon wish list, people, in case you want to see where it is. It'd be in the comment section down below, Amazon wish list. If I have helped you out and you want to show a bit of appreciation, then you can check out my Amazon wish list. It's down there. Buy me a gift. You don't have to buy me a gift, but you can buy me a gift. And I'll give you a little shout out on the channel. So this has come from someone called Jan. I can't pronounce your surname, Jan, because it looks either Polish, Ukrainian, or something on that line, I think. Thanks to your great YouTube channel, very helpful. Jan was after a main jet for a Tilliston TK carburetor. He couldn't find one anywhere. I found one straight away. They ordered it. He put it back together, and his Atco Balmoral, or her, Jan, Atco Balmoral is now purring like a kitten. And Jan bought me a 4.5-inch diamond cut-off wheel. This is a multi-wheel, which will cut metal, brickwork, all sorts of good stuff like that, which is fantastic for me because I do all types of stuff. So I thought I'd put it on my Amazon wish list, and Jan bought it for me. So thank you very much, Jan. Much appreciated. Happy mowing with your Atco Balmoral. Right, so we're going to be getting on with this. Love it, Amazon wish list, me. Going to be getting on with. I don't even like to mention it, but going to be getting on with this mower now. This Stihl mower. As I say, just because it's a Stihl mower doesn't mean to say that this won't fix your lawnmower. Okay. It is a very, very common occurrence with this style of engine. Even more so, very common occurrence if you decide to leave your fuel in your lawnmower over the winter period. When I say winter period, don't forget E10 starts to go off after 30 days. And I have mentioned this in about 4,000 of my 1,000 videos. If you leave your E10 fuel in your lawnmower for more than 30 days, that fuel has already surpassed its sell-by date, okay? So make sure that your fuel is either E5 or you're using something like an additive, or you are using something like Aspen fuel or something like that, okay? But this is a common occurrence, so we're going to go straight in. Air filter off. Air filter looks absolutely beautiful, as you would expect. And this is an automatic choke machine. This isn't a manual choker, this is an automatic choke. Just trying to locate my impact, which I had up in the house. I've been doing jobs in the house as well. And then we've got a couple of nuts and bolts to remove. Just literally here on the front of the mower. A couple of small ones just here. One there. One there. And I'm going to use the air filter tray cover to collect all my bits and my bobs, because what you don't want to do is losing your bits and your bobs. Change socket size, go up a size. And of course, some of these are fine threads, some of these are coarse threads. The fine threaded ones go into the metal and the coarse threaded ones go into plastic. We're then going to remove your carburetor box. Now this will have a pipe associated to it, which goes on here and sits on this one here, okay? Now this is an automatic choke, so you don't have to choke it. It will automatically choke, and once it warms up, it will then turn the choke off. Let me get you resituated, and then we can go from there. In fact, before I do any of that, I want to try and remove this front cover from this lawnmower, because I want to try and remove the tank as well, just to try and make it a bit easier for me to flush the tank out, because that's one of the main reasons also why we have a fuel problem. There's a silly little catch on these covers. I hate them, because you don't know whether you're going to pull them off to break them or what have you. So let me just grab a screwdriver. Go and get your bed, please, Pip. You're not helping, darling, because you haven't got any thumbs. If you haven't got any thumbs, you can't help me, Pippy. There looks like a catch underneath here. It's just up in there, and it's just a bit of a pickle to get hold of. It's got to be tipped over slightly. There's one, and there's another one just there. I think that's it. That's it, yeah. I'm going to remove the pull cord from the handle up the top, just to give us a bit of slack, and that will then lift up like so. That'll come off the front, and that will then expose the top of the engine. We'll move on to the next step and go from there. Okay, moving on to the next step, we've got a bolt here to remove. There'll be 3, and your model may differ, okay? And one there. Now the reason I'm taking off this top cover is this will expose the actual engine, and it makes it a bit easier for when we are removing the fuel tank, because now that's off, we can now just remove this fuel tank just by lifting this up, okay, which we're going to do in a minute. I just want to drain this fuel out and clamp this fuel off before we do that. Because I want to try and collect the fuel as much as I can, so we can actually just see what's going on with the state of condition of fuel. So clamp the fuel off, and then get a pair of short stubby nose pliers, which are my favourites, my Nipex ones. And we're going to remove the clamp and slide that back. With that slid back enough, we can then get hold of this fuel line off this carburetor. Get a bit of a tweak, just a bit of a twist to get it to move forward and back a bit. And then we can remove it off of the carb. Now it will leak a little tiny bit. Oh, there goes the carb. Try and keep it in place as much as we can. Oh, that give you a lot of room, I know that. There it goes. Oh, that's a carb, that's a fuel pipe off. But now we can literally just lift up this fuel tank, lift up off his grommets, like so. And that's your fuel tank all off in one go. Okay. The reason I'm doing that is so we can inspect the fuel tank and flush it out in one process. So that's good. Let me just get this fuel decanted. We'll check the state of fuel, and then we'll come back to this auto choke carburetor. I just want to put it back into its position so we know where it sits for you guys a bit later on. I've always spotted one thing already. And then we'll go from there for the next step. Right, so fuel dispenser here, container. I'm just going to drain this fuel out now. I think she might have topped the fuel up just to see if she could get it to run, which is what most people do. But look at the flow. Look at that flow. Now if I undo that cap, still not a lot of flow. Look at that flow. So that's one problem straight away that we're having. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to remove this other part of the fuel line, because that should be flowing better than that. Let's remove that fuel line altogether, and now let's have a look. Wow, that's barely even. There you go. Look. If I squeeze a tank, look. So there's definitely an obstruction in that fuel line somewhere. So we're going to flush the tank out now. Oh my lord. It looks full of goodness in there. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. With the fuel tank now empty, I'm just going to run my air compressor straight through the fuel tank itself. Okay. Through that nozzle. Like that. Now, judging by the state of fuel that come out of it, I could see it's got like a foggy colour to it. But look, and I will try and show this as clear as I can. How am I going to let me get another container, okay? Because this is quite horrific. So let me come back to you and just dispose of this other bit of oil I've got here. And I'll show you what I've actually found. Right, so I've had to decant just some of the fuel out of here because it won't all fit inside this container. But I haven't mucked with this fuel. This is as it is, and this is my findings. So now a slightly more clearer container. I'm going to pour the entire contents of what was left in the bottom of the tank into this one. There you go. Push that to one side. Now, I just let that settle a little tiny bit because it is very, very cloudy. But what I'm seeing already, and if you guys and girls can see, there's a line just here. See that line there? Well, all of that is petrol, and all of that is water. Okay, definitive line. I can see it. I don't know if you guys and girls can see that, but I'll try and zoom in where I can. But I can definitely see there's a line, and no matter how much you wipe that line will always stay there. There it is. Definitive line. And that is water and petrol not mixed together, because water and petrol does not mix, and no lawnmower I know of will run on water. Not yet, anyway. I reckon the first man or woman to find that, which if they can get a lawnmower to run on water, they'll probably go missing. Yeah, so that's a problem. I'm going to take a quick photograph of that for the young lady. And then we're going to have to now do the carburetor. Now, some people may just skip this bit and just put clean fuel in and away they go. But if there's water in the fuel tank, there'll be water in the carburetor, in my opinion. So let me take a quick photograph of that for the owner, and then we're going to move on to the next step and removing the carburetor from this lawnmower. Right, take a quick snapshot photograph of that. Put that to one side out of the way. I'll dispose of that a bit later on. So the fuel tank will need to be flushed, okay, just to get the existing water out of there, because there will be some left in there because it will be in the bottom of the tank. So that needs to be manipulated just to get all of that water out, and then I'll just put some fresh fuel through, give it a good shake up, and give it another empty out. Just be mindful that you need to make sure that at the bottom there's a filter. Clean that off inside there as well, just with an air compressor. But we'll get on to that a bit later on. Let's move on with the video. Let's bring my light round, because that was right in my eyes earlier. I like to move it. Now to remove the carburetor, it just slides out like so, and there's a couple of little tiny linkages, but you just got to be a bit mindful where they go, what they do. So the top one is your auto choke. That just slides off, and just put that to one side. And then you've got the other one here, which has to be lifted up off the governor, lift up and rotated round and off. But just be quick, do it quickly, because you want to try and preserve the fuel that's in here so you can inspect it later on. On the back of this carburetor, there's an O-ring that's fallen off, and a little tiny white clip that's fallen off, and those two actually situate on the back of the carburetor here. That's where they sit now. That's actually come off either as I was removing the carburetor, or it has come off through vibration, and it may have been running slightly rough because it's been sucking a bit too much air in. Those little tiny O-rings need to be changed and what have you, but we need to get on and do this carburetor clean first anyway. So I'm now going to remove this lawnmower out the way, just slightly. Just give me a bit of space, and I'm going to grab my carburetor tray. Lots of people ask where I get my carburetor tray from. Amazon, eBay, Tinternet. If you just go onto the internet world and punch in silicon magnetic tray, and then go to images, and then it'll come up in somewhere in the images. Pro Parts do them, or USA Parts do them. Loads of people do them, but that's how I find. Let me get me resituated, and we get this carburetor taken apart. Right, so we're going to move forward now. Carburetor time. Quick little clean off with some spray, just to get rid of some of this dust and crap that's on here. Let's try and get some of that down. And then we get a quick little blast off with my air compressor, just to remove some of this dust and crap. Because when we're cleaning carburetors, it needs to be clean. Clean environment. That's better than where we were. Okay, now this silicone tray here, this will actually identify water. You'll be able to tell the difference once we remove the nuts off of here. You'll be able to tell the difference of what's separated on the actual mat itself. So I'm going to remove these two little tiny screws here. And I'm going to put them to one side. Now, if you're going to watch very carefully, I will show you because it's already separated. I can see the difference already. So we have got water in this carb. I'm going to use a flat-headed driver just to try and manipulate to try and get this this to come up. There's ever so cool. It's well stuck on there. That is. Oh, it's been on there a while. Micks Mouse. There it goes. Okay. So just take a quick little reading of where this actually sits. So this screw here, this bowl nut here of another effect. This sits further towards the back, okay? And that's how you want to put it back on. So now we're going to remove, cool, that's right stuck in there. There you go. We're going to remove that now. Move it out of the way now. What we're going to do is we're going to tip this over into the far corner. All the way over. And I can see there's a difference between here, this line here, and all of this is water, and here is your petrol. That's fluid there, you can't really see it, but if you come in across, you'll see the line goes into it. That's all water. So that's why this carburetor wasn't even starting, is all this section here, the carburetor was half filled up with water, okay? Right, let me just get that tidied up. Come here, Pippy dog. Pip, come here, darling, good girl. We're going to get rid of all that water, soak it all up, get it all gone. Lovely. So we had a tank half full with water, a quarter full with water, and we had a carburetor quarter full with water as well. So that's why we're not running. So it's very, very simple. Next we're going to remove this little tiny pin, just here. Pop it up, and that will help remove the float and the needle that's associated with it. Up it comes. There's your needle. There's your float and float pin. There's not a lot more on these carbs to actually clean apart from this main cartridge here. That's got to come out. On a pair of stubby nose pliers if I can. You can just get hold of them. And sometimes they will release. If not, you have to get a very, very small screwdriver and very carefully pry the cartridge out from underneath the fitting. Let me just grab hold of a smallish screwdriver. You don't want to damage the cartridge, that's the problem. If you damage the cartridge, you'll be looking for a new cartridge. So there's a little tiny cutout on the back here where you can get a small flathead driver in, wiggle it in, and then just try and sneak it up. You don't want to be breaking this this cartridge. There's no other way of doing it, I'm afraid. You have just got to get in there and pry it up, and it will come. There it goes. But there's an O-ring underneath there, so just go a bit careful. There it goes. You don't want to break the O-ring, okay? So there's the O-ring. And again, there's more water sat inside here. You can see it. So that is the main parts of this carburetor now exposed. What we now have to do is with files and with some spray, I need some more spray, because what the spray I have got has nearly ran out. More can be found on my Amazon wish list if anyone wants to. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you've got to. I'm just advertise my Amazon wish list. But we're going to try and have a bit of a clean now. Oh, let me get some spray. What have we got? Spray. A bit of WD-40, that'd be alright, that'd be fine. Absolutely. Oh, GT85, that's even better. I like my pocket rocket, that's what I like. So a bit of GT85. Let me just put the straw on that. Give that a shake. And we're going to start the cleaning process. Pretty much anywhere where there's a hole, we want to put some spray in. And there are some brass jets on these, and sometimes the brass jets fall out. Just be mindful of where the brass jets are. That looks plugged to me, that one. I'm just about to see through it, just. Now these carburetors run extremely lean. And I mean extremely lean. Which is a design fault, because they are trying to get us to go over to battery components, and by running the machines extremely lean causes more and more issues. Now you can do other things like rimming out carburetors to give them a bit more fuel. Unfortunately, that used to work on the older, that still does work on the older style machines. It doesn't tend to work very well on the newer style, I must admit. Rimming out carburetors on an Amel 379 is lovely, because you can pretty much get inside the jet anyway and climb inside the jet. But on these newer style engines, they don't really appreciate being drilled. So I've got some micro drills here. Now I'm not drilling, I'm just literally just scraping the side walls of the inside diameter. I'm just applying some sideways pressure. And just what I'm actually doing is just refreshing the inside diameter, and I'm just getting rid of any kind of debris, i.e. ethanol or anything like that, that's just restricted these jets. You can buy these thumb drills on Amazon or eBay. Look on the internet, look them up, thumb drills, and they come up. I use them a lot. I'm just filing gently, not even opening these holes back up. I'm literally just making sure the hole is going back to what it was supposed to. I wouldn't even say I'm removing any material. Come here. That's that one done. That's nice, that one done. So a quick little clean up, because my hands are filthy. A quick little spray around my hands, and then we're going to put that straight into there. Give that a blast through, make sure it's running. Once it's running, I'm going to put that straight onto a clean bit of material. I'm then going to get my other side of the cartridge, give that a good clean round, make sure every single jet in here is running. Always look for any holes on the emulsion, on a fixed emulsion tube, needs to be poked out if need be. And if you can block some holes off just to help running the stuff in, then that will really help. Okay, get down inside that emulsion tube, that'll blast out. A general clean, and that's that done. Now that's that cartridge clean. We're going to have to get on with the carburetor itself, so we're going to go in to the main fuel flow in and go back the other way. Any way you see clean fluid come out, you're then literally going to poke it through the other way. So that's coming through the centre, and we're going to run it back through the centre. So anywhere where there's a hole, apart from the obvious screw holes, there's a little tiny jet hidden all the way down in here behind this flap. Make sure you give that a good clean as well. Rotate the carb, try and find where it's coming from. It's coming from in the centre. Don't know if that's working. A general clean. Tip it out. So once you're conscious that every single jet in this carburetor has had a good clean, a general tidy clean to make sure that there's no interference coming from anywhere else in this carb. No dirt is sat lurking, but the second you put it back together again, it's just going to ingest the dirt you just put in, okay? Now it's done, it's important to have clean hands. That goes onto a clean cloth. Wipe your hands clean, get all the dirt gone, and then we're going to reassemble this carburetor and cartridge. Again, as you're reassembling, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be checking that every component is clean when it goes back together. Okay, that's what we're checking for. So if you're not sure, just put your component back together, quick little clean as you go. If there's a bit of dirt just there, just what come off. Tip on its side, clean as you go. Okay. Now this will only go in one way. Remember, there's a cutout, so it'll go that way. Okay, a little cutout just there, and just push that in till it goes click. And it only goes so far. Again, another little spray. Look at this. Look at dirt here. Look, that's dirt there. Look, that's water. That's water just so I can see it. Okay, nice and clean. We're going to get our float and put it onto a rag, and give that float a little tiny bit of a clean, just to make sure that everything we're putting back together is spotless. Because my hands are filthy, but you need to make sure that it all goes back pristine. And this is what makes the difference. Grab your needle. Now that needle's got to sit underneath this float. And it sits in this little tiny slot, just like that. It goes straight in there. We're going to just going to place that into its position, into the hole. Place it in, sit it down, just hold it there and hold that float and give it another clean. Get rid of any dirt that you might have ingested, tip it up, get rid of it. It seems a little bit over jealous, right? A bit over top, but I'm telling you, every time you touch something, you're just introducing more and more dirt. That's what we're doing. You can wear gloves, yes, but gloves still get the dirt on them too. We're going to put this little tiny pin through the float, like so. And then you need to make sure that the needle's gone down at home where it needs to. It's where people make a mistake. They wiggle the float pin about, they don't actually realise what they've actually done is actually upset the needle. Okay, it needs to be sat inside there. So push it in this little tiny home. Make sure it's all sat, and then push that down. 1, 2, and again, tip it up on its side. Give it another little spray. Tip it up. Now that bit's done. Put it to one side. We haven't done anything with this bowl yet. I'm pretty sure the bowl is clean, but literally, it might have a bit of water just lurking. I don't know about you guys, but see this line? See this line here that's appearing? That's all water. Give it a little bit of a wipe with a clean rag, not a dirty rag. Lovely. And now it's ready to put back together. Okay. I'm just going to slide that in place. There's my screw holes, there they are there. That goes towards the back. Lovely jubbly. Sits on like that. Squeeze that down. Make sure it's well seated. There it goes. Get your 2 little tiny screws. Just start them off. Get your impact. Nice low setting. 1, 2. And again, another little clean off. They're introducing no dirt into its carb now. You just spent the past 10 minutes cleaning it. Right, we're happy with the carb now. The carb is clean. Now I'm going to put this carburetor into a rag so that no crap can get in there. Put that to one side because we're coming back to that in a bit. But now to move all this stuff out of the way, clean my hands again before we can move on to the next step. Right, lawnmower is now back in position. I'm going to pick up this carburetor that's been inside a rag. And remember what I said about the little tiny O-ring and clip on the back. That needs to be inserted and in place. And then the first thing to do is you need to hook up the governor arm, which is this one here, which will go onto the carby, tip it on, rotate it round, and then we can start just to manipulate that into place. As we're bringing it into place, you're going to hook up this auto choke as well. So it's just a bit of an operation just to try and get everything lined up at one time without bending anything. That goes into place, so that's it, we're nearly there. And then we can now slide this down through, make sure everything is fitting where it needs to, and it will just eventually just find its little tiny home and it'll go plop just like that. And I think we are there, it's just gone plop. So that's all now in place. My choke is on, which is where it needs to be. That's correct. This is your auto choke bar, and this is your auto choke waxing pot. So as your exhaust, when your machine fires up, this will warm up, and then this will then take your machine off a choke. It moves across and comes off a choke. So that's your auto choke assembly there. With that now done, we can now turn my attention back to the original problem, which was actually the tank. That was what was housing all this bad fuel. So that's now going to have just a bit of a swill. Put the fuel cap on Micks Mowers, nice and tight, and hold the button over top and give it a darn good shake up. And that'll just dislodge anything that's in there that shouldn't be. You can put some nuts and bolts in there as well, just to help shake stuff up, but it doesn't necessarily need it. We're now going to tip it upside down and into a fresh container with nothing in there. Tip that up and remove any foreign matter that might be inside there. Different ways, different angles. Make sure it all comes out. A quick inspection. Yeah, it's still quite cloudy, I must admit, but the filter now looks clean, which is good. There's a little tiny filter just in here, right inside the tank. A little tiny filter just in there, which needs to be clean. Now remember last time we had next to no flow, didn't we? Do you remember the flow problem we had? So I'm now going to be assuming that if I now put some fresh fuel in, plug the bottom of the tank off. Now do you remember how restrictive that fuel was earlier on? Let's just have a little look, see if it's any better. Ready? It is, but it's not brilliant, is it? So I'm just going to tip that up and get that filter a little tiny scratch. And also a bit of GT85 right up inside there, so I can actually see it cleaning that filter back out. That's better. Right, that should now run. Yeah, that's better. That's now running lovely. So it wasn't running like that beforehand, it was tiddling out, but now we've got quite a good flow, so quite a good flow, Joe. That can now be tipped out. Where's my dog? Hi, Pip. Right, we're now going to put a rag down, and we're now going to put this tank back on, loosely fit that. Good girl, stop walking off, Pip. I need to keep an eye on it. Tank just sits on these little tiny grommets, like so. And then I can now grab my my fuel hose. Come here, Pip, good girl. Come in your bed. Give it a quick little blowout. Make sure there's nothing in there that shouldn't be. In your bed, Pip. And then I'm going to loosely fit this onto the fuel tank and onto the carburetor. So that'll go on there. And then just manipulate that fuel hose with my clamps onto said fuel tank. You could even just lift that fuel tank up again one more time, and then just modestly fit it like so. Once it's on, you're going to lift that back up. It's a bit of a tight squeeze. They don't give you a lot of room, I must admit, on these new engines, but it is just a bit easier. Right, it's all now in place. You can now just grab your fuel hoses, your clamps, and just clamp them all off. Let's move that one around so I can see it. Bit more Micks Mowers. That's it. And that one can go around onto there. That's all hunky dory. Do that up. Now we're starting to go back to seeing how the lawnmower looked before I got my greasy mitts on it, aren't we? That's good. And then I'll find my other socket just so I can run down the pull cord mechanism. And this lady wants this lawnmower back today because she's got a house viewing or something, and she said, "Can I have it back before Friday?" I said, I forgot to tell you, I've been in hospital because my bloody Pip the dog, she bloody scratched me the other day. Come here, Pip. Good girl. Come on, good girl. Come on. In your bed. She scratched me the other morning. She got up out of her basket because she sleeps in the bedroom with us, but in a little basket. She got out of her basket and jumped on the bed in the morning, come and give me a good morning, my master cuddle, and she scratched me right across the cornea of my eyeball. I'm not saying that wasn't painful, but I cried like Ned Flanders. Oh my lord, really painful. So I've been off work for 2 nights because I couldn't actually open my eyeball up because my Pip the dog hospitalised me. Yeah, really painful. So I wasn't actually able to see much out of my eye until today. So I've been to the eye doctors today. They give me the all clear, but they want me to go back next week just for a final checkup. To blow the air filter out of touch. It looks really good actually, considering it's been sat in water. So yeah, I'm hoping to get this back to her today because she needs it for whatever it is she's doing later on. So remember what I said about the fine threads going to the metal, which are the ones top left and right, and then the coarser threads go into the ones bottom left and right, which are a slightly different size. I don't know why I did a different size really. I didn't need to do that. I could have just kept it the same size. But I suppose they did it so that people don't get confused with coarse and fine threads. I guess that's why we did it. Right, now that's all done, I can just nip my impact up a touch, just to make sure they're home, because you don't want them coming off. And we're pretty much done. So I've done a carburetor clean, and a fuel tank line removal, flush, all that sort of good stuff. So the question is now, clean that out. Question is now, will this lawnmower now finally run one more season? Because she looked after it without a doubt, but you know, it's just bad fuel. So hopefully we have. I'm just going to finish off tying up the rest of this mower so that's nice and presentable. We had a spark because we tested for spark earlier on, didn't we? And all we now got to do is just take it outside and fire it up, as my mate Terrell says. It's got a couple of little tiny silly little bits to put on here. I hate these bits. They just wind me up. There's that one. There's that one. There's that one. There's that one. Right. That's it. I think we're there. Oh, that's got to go underneath there, isn't it, Mick? I'll figure it out in a minute. That's what will come back off again. Because that's in the wrong rotation. I hate these bloody clips. That's it, right. It's got to go under there first, Mick. That's it, right, now on there. Under there, in there, on there. You've got to be a contortionist to figure all this lot out. Right, that's it. Right, okay. I'll put some fresh fuel in, give it a 10-minute wait, test, make sure it's not leaking, and then I'll meet you back outside, and then we'll go for a fire up. Right, so we're now ready for the fire up. Let's bring you out. Lawnmower's out in my garden. Come here, Pip. Good girl. I don't know if my luber's gone. Luber's been cutting the lawn, so that I don't have to. Cheers, Luby. That's nice, isn't it? Yeah. Does a good job out of that little robotic lawnmower. I need to get out here and do a proper cut at some point. But I'll try to leave the daisies on because the old birds and the old bees like the old flowers. I'll try to leave it as long as I can for the first part of spring. Here, Pip. Come on. Right, so now we should be situation go, hopefully, if the lawnmower even starts up. Let's grab this pull cord up here. There's a little bit of fuel just there. I don't know what that is just there. I'm just going to double check that. I don't think it is fuel from the tank. I think it's just where I spilt it when I was getting it clean. No, it is WD-40. Right, so don't need to prime it. I haven't tried to start it. Let's give it a fire up, see what happens. Peppy, what are you doing? Are you having just a scrub? You're a weirdo dog. Right, let's see what happens then. Okay. So it's not firing. It's really trying to. There might be some water inside the cylinder head. Let's have a quick little look to see if the HT is back on. I think it will go. It really is trying. Yeah, it will go. It's a wet plug, I think. Right, enough of that mucking about. Let's get a plug spanner, have the plug out, and just check condition of plug. Because I think if there was that much water in the system earlier, chances are it's going to be needing a fresh plug or just some water taken out of the cylinder head. I think it will go. It's definitely making all the right sounds. So let's just remove that HT lead. I get hold of it. There it goes. And of course it will be the size that I haven't brought out with me. Of course. And we'll whip a new plug in there. I'll just clean this one up. One or t'other. But these are my live fire ups, as I don't manipulate my videos. I don't always fire up straight away. Sometimes they take a little bit more work. Right, let's just whip that plug out. See what we get. It might have been tipped up because she couldn't get it to start. It's got a genuine overhead valve Briggs plug in it. Yeah, it's a bit dirty. She's a bit dirty birdie. A quick little clean. And then give it a couple of pulls just without the plug in. Because don't forget it said we had a good spark, didn't it? Do you remember? So it should be okay for a spark. Give it a couple of pulls. Just without the old plug in. Let's try and force any water out. Because it was full of water. And then put that plug back into the hole. Always have a problem with his longer reach plugs. Trying to find where the blinking hole is on it. Now, I'm hoping that we've been honest with each other doing this video, because the lady hasn't actually inadvertently done something to the mower and not been truthful. I've just been repairing it like this based upon what people tell me, and that's half the problem. Is that it was making a few popping and banging noises, which can suggest other things, but I'm hoping it is what it is. Right, let's nick that plug up, put that back on. Now that should fire up, he says. Maybe baby. That should fire up now. So a bit of water in the plug. So that's now going to run for around about 10 minutes. Get it nice and hot. As long as it doesn't muck about, I'll turn it off, and then I should restart it again straight away after about a minute. That'll give it a hot start, and then I'll leave it for about 2 or 3 hours. Make sure that choker's closed up again, and I'll give it another cold start fire test. but that's already telling me already that that's working nice. The drive works lovely. This is a lovely little mower, this is. But there you go. Quick little video for you there on how to do a carburetor clean on your overhead valve E-series engine. Even if your carburetor clean is successful, but it still doesn't start, check your spark plug, because if there's water in the tank, there's water in the carb, there's water in the cylinder head, there's water on the spark plug. That was why it didn't want to start off initially. As I say, I don't rig my videos. My videos are what they are, and you saw I had starting problems there. I didn't panic. I composed myself, took the plug out, give it a bit of a clean, and away it's gone. Yeah, it could want a new spark plug, but it's not in for that. Is it in for get it running, please, Mick? So once I've done my test, hot and cold starts, this mower will be good to go. If this video has helped you out and you want to show some appreciation, hit the subscribe button, whack the old bell, and set notifications to all. That way you'll be notified on my next video upload. And don't forget my Amazon wishlist and my Micks Mowers and Mower Man merchandise can be found in the comment section and also in the description. I look forward to you guys next time Micks Mowers very, very soon. But until then, don't forget, much more importantly, take it easy.